Earlier this week, I defended Stephen A. Smith's tribute to Kobe Bryant when all of the unemployables on Twitter were going after him for attacking modern NBA players during the tribute. There have been a lot of well put together tributes for Kobe Bryant this week, but there was one that I saw yesterday. While while I think the intent behind it was good, I think the heart was in the right place. There's just no way I can defend this. You can't defend the indefensible. I wanted to immediately get on here yesterday and talk about this, but when I see news like this, when I see stories, I prefer to let it sit for 12, 18, 24 hours. For one, it allows me a lot of time to just think about it and not overreact to something. And number two, there's just so much garbage in the mainstream media. I like to give news time to develop so the entire story has time to be revealed. Perfect example of this was what happened yesterday with Tom Brady. For an hour or two, everyone was just so convinced that Tom Brady was done. I received emails, DMs from you guys asking for a video on it. A couple of hours later, turns out the entire story was bullshit. Tom Brady has not made a decision on his future yet. When you're a content creator, there's this urge sometimes to be one of the first people to cover a breaking news story. I don't want to be first. I would rather be right than be first. For most of his NBA career, Dwyane Wade was the ultimate alpha male. He was a leader. When LeBron James got to Miami, he was already considered to be the face of the NBA. He hadn't won a ring just yet, but he was the face of the league. But when LeBron got to Miami, he deferred leadership to Dwyane Wade. Now, after they lost in the finals that first season together, Dwyane Wade actually pushed LeBron to assume more of a leadership role. He taught LeBron James how to be a leader. Something has happened to Dwyane Wade, though. There's been this shift in his mentality. Now, I don't like speaking on other people's relationships, but there's a huge difference in Dwyane Wade before he was married to Gabrielle Union and who Dwyane Wade is now. Now, I don't know if it's because her woke bullshit has rubbed off on him or it's because he's got a transgender daughter or transgender son, whatever the fuck. It's probably a little bit of both. I'm not a parent. I don't know anything about raising children, but I would imagine if your 8 or 9 year old son comes to you one day and tells you that he wants to be a girl, I would imagine that has a profound impact on you. It changes you. I don't know how I would react if one of my nephews told me that he wanted to be a girl. On one hand, you'd want to love and support him. I mean, on the other, a child doesn't have the mental capacity to make that kind of decision. There have been numerous studies done on children who transition. Depending on which study you read, anywhere from 65% to 98% end up regretting the decision to change genders. They actually detransition back to their biological gender as an adult. I don't know if Dwyane Wade's son or daughter has went through a full transition. And I really don't care. That's on them. That's their decision. This video is not about the child. We don't talk about children here on the channel. This video is about Dwyane Wade allowing his child to use the death of Kobe Bryant to push an agenda. Where is all the media outrage? Where's the outrage on Twitter? They were all pissed off at Stephen A. Smith for calling modern NBA players soft during his Kobe Bryant tribute. Well, here's a perfect example of that softness. Take a look at this Instagram post from Dwyane Wade's kid. This is supposedly a tribute to Kobe Bryant. Kobe, the alpha of all alphas, a man's man. And Dwyane Wade chooses to honor him with his son wearing Kobe's jersey as a dress? Does everything have to be agenda driven? Can't you just honor the man without shoving your sexuality in our face? I want to share Kwame Brown's reaction to this with you. I don't agree with everything Kwame Brown says, but I can relate to him. Both me and Kwame Brown, we're not afraid to publicly say things that everyone else is thinking but just doesn't want to say. I respect people who tell it like it is. Doesn't mean I always agree with what they're saying, but even if I disagree, I still respect the authenticity. In this particular scenario, I think I agree 100% with Kwame Brown here. Listen to what he said about Dwyane Wade.
But let's get into uh Dwayne Wade and what he's allowing to happen in his household. And I don't like to speak about a man's child, so I'm going to speak about the man. And as a man, I don't think Dwyane Wade levels up as a man anymore. And that's just my opinion, brother Dwyane Wade. I don't think you level up as a man. You are letting your woman control your house. You played this thing called basketball. This is a game. Kobe Bryant's children are not honoring him by wearing a dress. Kobe Bryant's wife is not honoring him by wearing a dress. I don't think nobody else is honoring Kobe Bryant by wearing a dress. Kobe Bryant was a masculine man.
Dwyane Wade commented on the post of his young son in a dress, and he said, "Girl dad." Girl dad. Your son wearing a dress does not make you a girl dad. It makes you an enabling dad. I am all about people being comfortable, being true to themselves. And like I said, I'm not a parent. I don't know shit about raising children. But I do know parents are supposed to protect their children. And I was a child once, so I know what it's like to be a kid. When I was growing up, my mind was constantly changing. One day I wanted to be a professional football player. A few months later, I wanted to be a lawyer. As a teenager, going from high school into college, I couldn't make up my mind. I wanted to go into communications, have a career in radio. Then I wanted to get into IT. Ultimately, I just decided on business. These are typical decisions that as a kid, you're indecisive about. You don't have the ability at that age to make rational decisions, especially 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. The decisions that I was thinking about at that age, they were not life altering decisions. Hell, I remember when I started smoking as a teenager, I couldn't even decide which cigarettes I liked best. I changed brands constantly. Your mind is constantly changing when you're growing up. These are not decisions that could negatively impact the rest of your life, though. It's not like making a decision at 10, 11, 12 years old about what gender you want to be for the rest of your life. Kids shouldn't be thinking about things like that. When I was 12 years old, I didn't look down at my dick and think, damn, I would love to get rid of this thing and add an extra hole down there. I looked at it and thought, that damn thing's really fun to play with. How does a child at that age even know about gender identification? If I remember correctly, all of this started with Dwyane Wade's child several years ago. I think he was 7, maybe 8 years old. How in the hell, at that age, is he even considering gender identity? Someone had to teach him. The details of this are a little bit fuzzy for me, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I remember years ago when all of this came out about Dwyane Wade's son. I don't think D. Wade was initially supportive. Gabrielle Union had to convince him to be. There was one thing that Kwame Brown said in that clip that kind of describes some modern marriages. Not all. Not all marriages. I said some. Anytime I talk about marriage, I get a flurry of comments and emails from dudes talking about how great their marriage is or how they lead their household. I believe you guys. I believe you. I said some marriages. But there's also a lot of married dudes that allow their wife to run the show. Again, this ties back to confusing gender roles. Men are supposed to lead the relationship, women follow the lead. There is a reason men get down on one knee and ask a woman to get married. They are leading the relationship into the next step. That doesn't mean women don't have a voice. That doesn't mean women don't make decisions. It doesn't mean women can't be leaders. That doesn't mean men have more value or they're above the woman in the relationship. That's not what it means. Relationships are supposed to be a 50-50 partnership. Both men and women are equal in the dynamic. But biologically, that's just the way gender roles are. Men are more natural leaders and women are more naturally open to being led. That's not my opinion. It's just human nature. So don't be mad at me. Be mad at science. But Kwame Brown said, Dwyane Wade is allowing his wife to run the household. Now, I don't know the dynamics of their relationship. All I can go off of is what I see. Prior to Gabrielle Union, Dwyane Wade was a Christian. Now, I shouldn't say was. I didn't mean it like that. I'm not questioning his faith. I'm sure he still is. But he wore the number 3 throughout his career because it represented the Holy Trinity in the Christian faith. He donated 10% of his salary to churches in Chicago. When his mother became an ordained minister in the Baptist church back in '07, Dwyane Wade bought her a church. Now, fast forward to now. After 14 years, is it, of him being with Gabrielle Union, being with a social justice warrior? Gabrielle Union is a race baiter. She's friends with Jamel Hill. When she worked on America's Got Talent, she lasted one season. Why? Typical woke bullshit. She accused NBC of being racist. They conducted a full investigation into her claims, found her claim to be baseless. Then she proceeded to publicly humiliate Terry Crews. Because he was a black guy who didn't substantiate her false racism claims. Terry Crews is the nicest dude in America. If you have a problem with Terry Crews, I promise you're the problem. The dude doesn't have a malicious bone in his body. But just look at the behavior of Dwyane Wade since he got with Gabrielle Union. BLM supporter. He supported Nick Cannon last year after Viacom fired him for making anti-Semitic remarks. Doesn't sound real Christian to me. He told everyone to stay woke after the Charles Oakley incident in the garden back in 2017. Maybe Kwame Brown has a point. Maybe he's right. Gabrielle Union is leading the household. Dwyane Wade is following her lead. You tell me, who has changed more since they got together? Dwyane Wade or Gabrielle Union? Who has rubbed off on who? Who's adopted whose mentality? You be the judge. You tell me. Let me know what you think. Is Kwame Brown right about Dwyane Wade? Also, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this transgender daughter or transgender son of Dwyane Wade, whatever you call it. I don't know how to call it, whatever. I'm not a parent, so I don't have kids. I don't know what I would do in a situation like this. I know there are a lot of parents in my audience. How would you handle a situation like this with your kid? Your 8, 9, 10-year-old son tells you that he wants to be a girl. Do you allow him to medically transition? Do you support the decision? Do you allow him to make that decision? Or do you try to convince them otherwise? Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.